Five. Four.
Every time I run
Three.
I feel like making
Two.
One.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a little thing that we call the Cipher 360. I am your host, Marcus the Kidd Warren, and with me is my man Muff. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing really well, man. Another day, another dollar.
Yes, sir.
Another review. Let's just kind of get right into it. What we're attacking today is my man's favorite rapper, and one of my favorites. But no, I thought is he your favorite rapper?
I think he was number 2 on my list.
Okay.
Top 5.
Talib Kweli's "Prisoner of Conscience."
Yes, sir.
You know. Okay. The stage has been set. Talib Kweli comes out with his new album. I'm ready to hear it. I want to know what's going on.
All right.
This is where I'm at with it. Okay.
That's what
I'm comparing his album on my mind to Sky Zoo's album in terms of this, because Sky Zoo's album was a good music type of album. It's hard for me to it's not hard for me to explain. You expect, it's not just beat makers, you expect their music to be produced. One of the reasons that, now I'll get to my point here, one of the reasons why Sky Zoo's album A Dream Deferred worked so well, because you can tell it was produced really well. And it didn't really stay true to the one thing that I always say throughout all of our shows, that you have to have just one producer and it sound beautiful. I just still believe that, but some people have a knack for bringing in multiple producers and still having a cohesive album.
Okay.
So that's what I'm kind of thinking of when I'm listening to this album. Now, Prisoner of Conscience, is it Talib Kweli's best album I've ever heard? It really isn't. Okay. But it's almost kind of like a tale of two halves to me, the CD.
Okay.
The first half of the CD was solid, you know. Come Here with Miguel, Human Mike is solid, turned up. I mean, he could have saved that because it's got the paid in full lyric, and it's got the paid in full beat, or the Milli Vanilli beat, whoever you want to speak to. Okay. That didn't work for me. And I'm all for bringing back the old school to the new school, whatever. That song just didn't work for me. But once you start getting into Push Through with Kendrick Lamar, Currency, and Glenn Reynolds, you know, the album for me starts to take off a little bit. We talked about Rocket Ships, which is produced by RZA. RZA, I thought, put a really solid beat together. Hamster Wheel is done really well. One of my favorite songs on the album is actually a song called Before He Walked with Nelly. We just talked about that. And it's funny because as soon as I saw that Nelly was on the album, I was kind of ready to hate it a little bit. Okay. You know, because it's Nelly, and no disrespect to my brother Nelly, I just was never really a fan of his style of rhyming. That's just me in particular. Okay. But look, he didn't get popular being bad. I mean, obviously somebody really liked this thing. That's just my own personal taste. But that said, even his verse on the song worked really well for me. You know what I mean? Even though he comes with the singy song, chuck a rap, you know what I mean? He does that, but that still kind of works for me. Overall, it's a pretty solid album. Again, the second half of the album was really, really done well, and it did kind of put me in the mindset of A Dream Deferred by Sky Zoo. The first half of the album, I thought Talib was all over the place a little bit. Okay. That's right. So, you know, and when I'm thinking about guys like Talib Kweli, who's obviously lyrically they're going to be on point. It's never going to be an issue as how it's like Nas. Of course Nas is going to spit truth and spit crazy lyrics and crazy metaphors and all of that stuff. That's who he is, right? So what I want to see is whether or not the beats or the music or the production of the music is going to be up to par, you know, with his lyricism. You know, and I think it's kind of hit and missing a little bit for me in that way. Okay. But I mean, go ahead.
Well, honestly, I have the same thought, almost the same thought as you, but I won't reiterate too much about it, because a lot of the things that you liked about it, I also loved about it. The one thing I was really excited, I get excited every time a Talib Kweli album comes out. He's one of my favorite lyricists of all time.
I told him to come on, he said, now tell me he's coming out again, go slow.
You stupid. But anyway, I mean, because you know, when you get a Talib Kweli album, it's going to be lyrically insane. It's going to be lyrically brilliant, which this album was. And I also agree with you, like, it almost felt like a side A type B type of joint. Like back in the day, kids, we used to have these tape cassettes, right? Yep. And sometimes people would actually have a theme for the first side of the tape. You would flip it over, it'd be a totally different theme. This one was almost the same exact thing. The second part of the album is banging off the freaking chain. I remember the first time I talked to you about this album, I said, look, I only heard the first part of it. I'm not really feeling
That's
it
right.
that
Yeah,
much.
you did say that.
I said,
Yeah.
look, it sounds like he's cupcaking a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's part of Talib Kweli's thing, but it's like it just the beats weren't really matching the insane lyricism of Talib Kweli. Now we talk about the second side of the album, like you said, Rocket Ship was very tight. Before He Walks, very, very tight. Nelly did a great job on this album, so I won't iterate too much, but I was pretty much feeling the same exact way you were about it. I'm sure a lot of people a lot of people would enjoy this album because it does have that, you know, flexibility within like the first side of it and the second side of it. But first side of it, I wasn't really feeling that much.
I think that what it is we're trying to say is this. I mean, there's an obvious attempt from our perspective that there's some mass appeal going on in his part for the album. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, you got Miguel on there, Melanie Fiona on there. You know what I mean? It's going to piss. Well, you had your girl or your, you know, whoever you're with at the time in the car with you to listen to this CD. They're probably going to enjoy this first part of it. But guys like us at Cipher, not that the way we think is like the way you should think, but I mean, what we look for in hardcore hip hop isn't always there, especially for certain artists that we really enjoy.
Right.
So, I mean, you can play the first. I mean, it's going to play okay. I mean, if you have somebody who's not as heavy into or knows really who Talib Kweli is, they're not going to say, oh, man, the first half of the album is garbage. They're not going to say this. It's going to be like, oh, it sounds nice. This is decent, whatever. You know what I mean? Especially because its lyricism is on point on top of it. But, I mean, from a production standpoint, beat-wise, the second half of the album really goes in. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I always revert back to Sky Zoo, who was my favorite, which was my favorite album of the year last year, and I'm still banging that to this day because that's like the perfect meeting of incredible produced beats, or I hate to even like make it. I don't even want to call it beats. It's just good music, right? With intense, crazy lyricism.
Okay.
I mean, Sky Zoo, his lyrics are on point, but the type of lyricist he is much like that of a Talib Kweli.
Okay.
That type, you know, subject matter. At any rate, overall, I really enjoyed it. If I'm going to go ahead and rate this, and it's funny because
What's funny? What's funny?
well, this is what it is about that. I think that we hold certain artists to different standards than we do other artists. So I hold Talib Kweli because I think so highly of him to a really, really high standard as far as albums are concerned. His best work to me is still his work with DJ Hi-Tech.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm telling you, if him and Hi-Tech got together, or if him, Hi-Tech, and Mos Def, or Yasin Bey, I think his name is now, they got back together to do another Black Star album, you know, I know it's going to be crazy because, like, you know, Hi-Tech's, his beats fit Talib Kweli's lyricism, you know, to me. At any rate, I'm rating it. I'm going to go ahead and give it the rock solid 3.5 stars. Cyphies. It's a good album. It's worth listening to. So it's a type of album that I've listened to it a few times already. It still continues to get better as I listen to it, but mainly it's because the second half of the album is really done well. But 3.5 for me.
No, I agree with you 100% on this one. 3.5 again for me, because I do believe that the lyricism is consistent throughout the album. I mean, it's not one of his best lyricist type of efforts, but still, it's Talib Kweli. He's not sleeping. He's not taking a break. He hasn't lost a step.
Right.
But beat-wise and just feel-wise for the first part of the album, I really wasn't feeling it, so 3.5 for me too.
All right. Well,
and don't forget, hey, look, if y'all want to check out this album, let us know what you think about it. Don't forget to check us out. We are on Facebook. We are the Cipher Crew. You can also hit us up on Twitter. A lot of people have been hitting us up on Twitter, and I really appreciate it. We are Kidd and Muff 44 on Twitter. We also up on our email account. Our Gmail account is kiddandmuff 44. That's KIDDANDMUFF 44, also on Gmail. So, hey, check it out. Let us know what you think.
And one other thing, too. If you guys, and some people have been doing this already, and I'm going to do a better job of getting back with you guys who give us comments on our YouTube shows, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all that. At any rate, if you have anybody that you want us to go ahead and review that we haven't reviewed yet, give us a shout out and we'll try our best to get that reviewed. You know what I mean? A lot of you guys want to see us review Logic and Blockhead's new album. You know, I'm going to look to possibly do that. A couple of guys that got at us about reviewing Ghostface's album, which we wound up doing. That's why we did it. So if you guys want to throw some things at us as far as reviewing, we'd be more than appreciative, and we'll let you know what we think about it.
Okay, hey, real quick, I just want to say something real quick. I want to throw something out there. Look, speaking of like YouTube and YouTubers and people putting stuff up on YouTube, y'all heard about this young cat named Jay Harris, also known as Jay That Bull. Okay, if you guys haven't heard about it, check it out. It's a story. It's been all over the place. Kid got a full ride to Michigan to play for the Spartans, and I guess he turned it down accordingly. according to Jay, that bull, he said he turned it down. I think that's bull. I think they saw the video and saw him smoking weed and calling women bitches. They said, well, okay.
That might have did it.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Give me my scholarship.
But he says that he said that he chose not to go to school because he's pursuing his rap career, which is stupid. But anyway, that I'm not going to go off on a tangent on that one. But the one thing I did want to comment on that one, he has these things called off the dome freestyle. Okay, now, again, kids, I'm just saying this because I love you. All right, and if you're coming up in hip hop, especially if you're coming up and putting stuff on, say, yo, I love the children. You know, the Cipher crew for the babies. And you know, and I just want to make sure everybody knows this because you look silly if you do this. If you are going on to YouTube and saying you are spitting off the dome, off the head, freestyle type shit, don't have your boys saying the lyrics with you.
Yeah.
That's not freestyle. Okay, that's not freestyle.
Right,
freestyle is when you make the lyrics up as you go along.
Yes, sir.
Do not have your boys on a YouTube video. Even if you did write it, you know, you say, oh yeah, I'm off the dome. Don't have your boys saying the lyrics with you. Then you look stupid. Okay, sorry. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm saying about that. But anyway, Talib Kweli, check his new album out, man. 3.5 for my man, 3.5 for me. Check it out. Let us know. Get back with us. Good, the bad, the ugly, like my man said. And why? Because the Cipher said so, son. We out. Peace.
Yeah, and you don't stop. Yeah, and you don't stop. Yeah, and you don't stop. Check it, my man Trey, and you don't stop. Johnny Boombats, and you don't stop. My man Muff, and you don't stop. My nigga Woo, and you don't stop. Little Brooklyn, and you don't stop. Grand Jury, and you don't stop. Jay White, and you don't stop. Cipher music, and you don't stop. Check it, we rise from the grave with the eyes of a slave. We strive to survive, rocking the mic live, no surprise that we paid. We created a trade that became a craze, or was it vice versa? Gave birth to a verse and baptized it in cursive. If you thirst for the real, then travel no further. We murdered the fraudulent motherfuckers and went out to get burgers. We hip-hop carnivores, living by the art of war, with enough lyrical ammo in my dome that I can start a war. Still the shogun, defeated by no one. Bring it back soldiers, put them together, and I'm leaving them broken. With the hollow point flow, to the opposite of your toes. You'll be like, oh my god, the key I double, we didn't know. So put your hands to the opposite of the flow. Feel the rhythm with Muff on the beats, and the kid is on the wisdom. And Who was on the boards, and the niggas had the vision. We can make some real shit to make these motherfuckers listen. To the people in the front, gonna give you what you want, like yeah, and you don't stop. To the people in the back, coming right to